The Champions League round of 16 is starting next week, and with that being said, in today's video, I thought it would be pretty interesting to create my dream knockout stage, my dream road to the final. Is this going to be realistic? Not at all, but in my opinion, this would be the most entertaining form of the Champions League, the most entertaining round of 16, quarterfinals, semifinals, and obviously the final match as well. So big teams might be going home early and some unexpected teams may be making it further than most people would predict. But in my opinion, these are just the most entertaining matchups, not what's realistic. Obviously, in a few days, I will be releasing my actual Champions League round of 16 predictions. But in today's video, I thought I would predict the whole road to the final with the most entertaining fixtures, in my opinion. As you can see, I am on the official UEFA Champions League website, and here we can see all the matchups we have in the round of 16, starting off with PSG against Chelsea, Galatasaray against Liverpool, Real Madrid against Man City, Atalanta against Bayern Munich, Newcastle against Barcelona, Atletico Madrid against Tottenham, Bodo Glimt against Sporting, and Bayer Leverkusen against Arsenal. So let's start off with PSG against Chelsea. Now this is a rematch of the Club World Cup where Chelsea beat PSG 3-0. It was a great performance by Chelsea. Obviously, we saw goals from Cole Palmer, we saw goals from Joao Pedro, and PSG were completely humiliated. But at the current moment, Chelsea don't have Enzo Maresca anymore. They have Liam Rosignol, and I do think that this does change a lot of things in this Chelsea team. Now, realistically, I think PSG are the better team against Chelsea, and in my opinion, I do think PSG play more entertaining football. So for that reason, I would love to see PSG advancing to the quarterfinals. The next matchup is Galatasaray against Liverpool, and obviously Liverpool are definitely the favorites in most people's heads. We saw Galatasaray in the round of 32 where in the first leg playing at Rams Park they completely destroyed Juventus, but in the second leg they were shocking. Juve realistically probably should have scored 5 goals in that game, and Galatasaray's manager Buruk said that that was one of the worst performances he's seen at Galatasaray. So coming up against Liverpool, realistically, Liverpool are the favorites. But in my opinion, I would love to see Galatasaray advance. First of all, I think that this tie is going to be incredible. I think the first game at Rams Park, Galatasaray could win by multiple goals. But in the second game, I think Liverpool could also win by multiple goals. So I think there's going to be a lot of goals scored in these matchups. But for pure entertaining purposes, I would love to see Galatasaray upset Liverpool. This is the exact same place where Liverpool got knocked out in the last Champions League against PSG in the round of 16. And for some reason, I think it would be incredibly entertaining to see it again. So I'm going to predict Galatasaray to advance to the quarterfinals. Moving on, we got Real Madrid against Man City, and this is the classic matchup. Over the last 4, 5, 6 years, we've seen this matchup every single year. And at this point, it's just starting to be like a thing we see in every single Champions League. And over the last few years, these games have been very, very 50-50. We've seen Real Madrid win a 2. We've seen Man City absolutely destroy Real Madrid. And this season, I think Man City are simply the better team. I think they're playing more entertaining football. And yes, they have had a few hiccups, if you want to say, but Real Madrid just don't look like the best team. And at the current moment, they're on some pretty shitty form. So in terms of entertaining purposes, I definitely think Man City moving on would be more entertaining than Real Madrid. Obviously, if Real Madrid move on, it would be very historic, but I'm going to go for Man City. And the last match in this side of the bracket is Atalanta against Bayern Munich, where in my opinion, I do think Bayern Munich should advance. Atalanta advancing would be very entertaining. I think Atalanta actually play arguably the most entertaining football in the Serie A. You could say teams like Como or Inter also play very good football. But in my opinion, I love Atalanta. I love their manager, and I would love to see them advance. But I do think it would be better in terms of entertaining purposes if Bayern Munich would advance. I think Bayern Munich have arguably the best attack in Europe. They score loads and loads of goals. So for that reason, I want to see Bayern Munich advancing. Moving on to the other side of the bracket, the first matchup we got is Newcastle against Barcelona. And for me, I want to see Barcelona advance. I would love to see Barcelona make a deep run in this Champions League. I think that Barcelona play arguably the most entertaining football in the world. I think their attack is incredible with players like Rashford, Rafinha, Lamine Yamal, Lewandowski, who obviously has been suffering from a lot of injuries this season. And it does seem like they need him if they want to make it far in the Champions League. But I think Barcelona, it would be very entertaining if they were to beat Newcastle and make it far in this Champions League. The next matchup we got is Atletico Madrid against Tottenham, and realistically, Atletico Madrid should 100% advance. But you know what? I'm going to go for Tottenham. I think Tottenham advancing in the Champions League would be crazy. It would be absolutely insane because in the Premier League, they're in a relegation battle. If they advance out of the round of 16, that would be scenes. It would be absolutely crazy. Imagine seeing Barcelona against Tottenham. I would love to see that matchup. Now, like I already said, realistically, it probably will be Atletico Madrid, but in terms of entertaining purposes, I would love to see Tottenham advance. The next matchup we got is Bodo Glimt against Sporting, and this is my favorite matchup in the Champions League. I'm so excited to see this matchup. Now, like I already mentioned, I've become a Bodo Glimt fan. I know I'm a Napoli fan by heart, but you know what? I'm hopping on the bandwagon. I'm supporting Bodo Glimt. And in this matchup, I think it will be very, very close. You see a team like Bodo Glimt with amazing attackers, players like Jens Petter Haug, their other striker, who I think his name is also Haug. They've been incredible. They've been scoring in almost every single game against Atletico Madrid, against Inter, against Man City. Their attacking players are incredible and they're performing so good. But Sporting also have very good attacking players. You look at Trincao, he's been incredible so far for them in this season. You look at Luis Suarez, the Colombian Luis Suarez. I think he's gotten 22 goals this season in the Liga Portugal. He scored another multiple goals in the Champions League. He's been on fire for Sporting. So for that reason, I think this matchup would be crazy. But in terms of entertainment, I would love to see Bodo Glimt advance. I would love to see them advance further, and that's who I'm going to predict to beat Sporting. And the last matchup is Leverkusen against Arsenal. Now, for me, I'm not really a big fan of Arsenal this season. I don't think they're that entertaining to watch, and I don't really like the football that they're playing, but they are still a good team. And for the competitive nature of this Champions League, I want to see Arsenal advance. Yes, Leverkusen are still a decent team, but this season they've been very inconsistent, so I'm going to go with Arsenal. Now in the quarterfinals, the first matchup we would get is PSG against Galatasaray. And this would be a crazy matchup. PSG, a team who are incredible scorers, but this season, they haven't been at their best so far. Against Galatasaray, a team who are incredible playing at home, but away from home have really struggled this Champions League. I think this would be a very entertaining quarterfinal match, but I have to predict PSG to advance. I think PSG play some really good football, and we saw the same thing happen last season, where at the start of the season last year, or about halfway through, for the first half of the season, they weren't playing the best football, but in the second half of the season, in the knockout stages in the Champions League, it's like they flipped the switch. They turned up. They were scoring loads and loads of goals. They beat almost all the English teams, and they were incredible. And against Galatasaray, yes, it would be nice to see Galatasaray advance to the semifinals because we never really see that happen, but I would prefer PSG to advance. And the other game is Man City against Bayern Munich. For me, I gotta go with Bayern Munich. We all know PSG against Bayern Munich is a classic matchup. This is almost on the same level of Real Madrid against Man City. Over the last decade or so, how many times have we seen PSG against Bayern Munich? It's been such incredible matchups. And Bayern Munich against Man City, I think this would be a really close game. I think this game depends a lot on the midfield. I think the midfield will dictate which team will win. Yes, both teams have incredible attack. We have Harry Kane against Erling Haaland, but I think whichever team can dictate play in the midfield will be able to win this matchup. And for that reason, I think Bayern Munich will be the better team and will advance. And now on the other side, we have Barcelona against Tottenham. And how entertaining would it be if Tottenham beat Barcelona? If Tottenham made it to the semifinals in the Champions League, bro, I don't even know what to say about this club. I don't know what to say about them. Last season, they almost got relegated. They won the Europa League. This season, they almost get relegated, or they might get relegated. Imagine they make it far in the Champions League. It would be absolute scenes, but I still want Barcelona to go through. I think Barcelona, like I already mentioned, are probably the most entertaining team in the world. And the way they score goals, I just don't think Tottenham will be able to defend them, especially with how they've been defending recently, how Vicario has been recently. I don't think they have any chance. And the last matchup is Bodo Glimt against Arsenal. And you know what? Fuck it. Bodo Glimt are going to beat Arsenal. Bodo Glimt would have beaten Man City. They would have beaten Atletico Madrid. They would have beaten Inter across two legs. They would have beaten Sporting. And now they would beat Arsenal. And you know what? They're going to beat Arsenal across both legs. Like, I think if Bodo Glimt were to beat Arsenal, that would be absolutely crazy. Now, could this backfire? 100%. This could 100% backfire. I remember last season, I predicted Arsenal to get knocked out by PSV, and I think they beat PSV 7-2. And I got loads and loads of people shitting on me for predicting Arsenal to lose. Now, obviously, these aren't my actual predictions. This is just my dream road to the final, my most entertaining road to the final. And I think if Bodo Glimt beat Arsenal, that would be crazy. Everyone would go crazy and everyone would love it. So I think Bodo Glimt would be Arsenal. Moving on to the semifinals in this road to the final, we have PSG against Bayern Munich. And like I already mentioned, a classic matchup. Realistically, this could go either way, but I would love to see Bayern Munich beat PSG. I know we've seen it in the past, but I would love to see it again. Yes, PSG are a good team. Yes, they have amazing attackers. They have amazing midfield. They have an amazing team. But I feel like Bayern Munich are a more entertaining team. And I just feel like they're simply a better team as well. I think Bayern Munich have arguably one of, if not the best attacking trios in the world. I think their attack is absolutely incredible, from their wingers to their striker, even their attacking midfielders, their young players. They have such an incredible team. And for that reason, I would love to see Bayern Munich playing in the final of this Champions League. But now, Barcelona against Bodo Glimt. Who would meet Bayern Munich in the final match? It could be Bodo Glimt. Honestly, if Bodo Glimt make it to the final, that would be crazy. I would buy a Bodo Glimt jersey. I would go to Norway. I would go crazy if Bodo Glimt beat Barcelona. But I want to see Barcelona against Bayern Munich. In my opinion, I think that would be the most entertaining final match. I think Barcelona against Bayern Munich would be incredible entertainment. I think it would be so good. I think that game would be fantastic. I think we'd see loads and loads of goals. And yes, realistically, PSG against Barcelona would also be a great matchup. Seeing Bodo Glimt in the final match, I do think they probably would get destroyed, but it would be a crazy fairy tale and it would be absolute scenes. But in my opinion, I think Bayern Munich against Barcelona would be the best matchup in the final. And with that being said, which team do I think would win the Champions League final in my dream Champions League knockout stage? Which team do I think would be the better team? Which team do I think would be the more entertaining team? And which team do I think would have more football fans going absolutely crazy? I think it would be Barcelona. I think if Barcelona win this Champions League final, that would be absolutely crazy. Yes, realistically, if this final does happen, I think Bayern Munich would be the better team, and I would probably predict Bayern Munich to win. But I would love to see Barcelona win the Champions League, because we saw so many people when this draw took place saying that, oh, one side is so much more difficult than the other side. The only team to win it in the right-hand side is Barcelona, whereas on the other side, almost every team have won it. So to see a team from the right-hand side, a team from the side that Barcelona's on, win it over the other side would be absolutely crazy. And in this game, I could see maybe 6 goals, 7 goals. I could see Bayern Munich scoring 3 goals against Barcelona, but I could see Barcelona scoring 4 goals against Bayern Munich. And for that reason, I think, in my opinion, the most entertaining Champions League draw would be Barcelona winning. And that's the end of this video. I just thought this would be a little fun video to upload. Not really too much serious predictions in this video. Obviously, I will be releasing my actual round of 16 predictions in a few days. But for me, this would be the most entertaining Champions League. And if you guys agree, remember to leave a comment down below. Remember to leave your dream Champions League knockout stage in the comments. And like I said, I'll be sure to reply to every single comment. And obviously, if you did enjoy this video, remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And stay tuned for my actual Champions League round of 16 predictions.